Hey guys, I'm here, Jonathan, for another forecast video. I'm going to do my best to keep it shorter and to the point. So let's just get right to it. Here we go. Basically, not much has changed since the last video, except for the fact that the GFS, the model which before wasn't showing any chance for snow whatsoever, has actually trended better and into a more favorable position for snow. But I want to actually start with the Euro, which is the model we're looking at right now. Let's just watch the evolution of the weather pattern. We are looking at the northern hemisphere again. Here's Israel, and again, this is the coldest air over here. Europe's right here. America is right over here. And basically, notice how right now, this is the where we're at today. Notice how there's already a ridge beginning to form. And Israel actually is in warmer colors, but if you've already noticed today, it was starting to get really cold, really chilly. And I think that's a precedent for what's to come, especially when we start to begin to look at the evolution of this pattern. Here we go. This is 24 hours from now. Notice how Israel's already getting in cooler colors. And we can just scroll down. And this is 48 hours from now, which is Wednesday. We're already getting into some green, which is really cold. And notice how this incredible ridge, which will turn into a block, a Scandinavian block, begins to form. This ridge, it's very narrow, very tall, and it's sending down at the same time an incredible trough of cold air. And notice right now how this is actually considered a positive tilt because the trough is diagonal. And it's shooting from Russia right over here diagonally into Europe. But what we want is it, instead of to keep going that tilt, we actually want it to turn neutral, and actually so it can come into Israel, which is exactly what it does. Whoops, let's go back to 72 hours. Here's the perfect mark, 96 hours. Notice how the trough literally decided to pivot. It didn't get caught in anything over here, which is what was happening with the GFS models and previous runs. It actually stays cut off. Right? Notice how the cold air is starting to get cut off thanks to the block. The block is starting to cut off the trough, and it's starting to pivot more neutrally into Israel, and then it just sweeps through the area really quick after 120 hours. And this is a decent run for potential snow. It's not the best snow run you'll ever see, but it's a good run. It's actually better than the first run from the Euro that I showed you before on my first video. It's a little deeper, the cold, if I recall, and it's still showing the potential for again cold air and snow. Here's the GFS. Notice how it's this time almost looking like the Euro. The trough builds, and the ridge again is also building at the same time. The cold air comes down, and notice that this time it also pivots. It turns neutral. It doesn't turn positive tilt anymore. It becomes more right directly north-south overhead, and then it also eventually pivots out, and Israel gets back into a little bit warmer degree. But notice the big difference here is even though this is a much better run than what we've seen with the GFS, the cold doesn't go nearly as far down as the Euro is showing. Not at all. I can try to show you a quick comparison. Here's the Euro, here's the GFS. If you were checking out this location here, you'll be able to see that basically Israel, which is right here, is only getting into the kind of light green colors according to the GFS, but according to the Euro, it's almost into the blue. What we want to see in order for this to become a better storm for us is that, firstly, we want to see that the ridge builds in a way where it's even less positively tilted like this in this diagonal than it is right now. It would be great if it can build a little more neutral, north-south, which would push this cold air further into Israel as the trough is building. We also want to see that when the block begins to form, which is right here, that it actually is a little further south so that it can actually push this cold air even further down. If it were to do that, we would actually probably experience an incredible storm. And the reason for that is because instead of it pivoting out so much quicker like this, and here's Israel, the cold is already out, we would actually be able to stay a lot longer in colder temperatures. It's possible that over time this is what will happen. We're actually still several days away from this storm, which is, again, if I haven't mentioned it already, it looks like it will start on Friday. I'm talking about the colder part of the storm, Friday into Saturday. So yeah, it's possible that by then, today's only Monday, that things will change. There's and that the cold air will continue to trend even further down. The reason why I think we have some hope for that is because this whole area of the world, which is literally the Arctic regions, northern Scandinavia, Siberia, Russia, there aren't many people there, obviously, because of that, there's also less weather balloons and less instruments that are measuring the weather over there. I mean, there is still for weather models all those instruments, but it's definitely not nearly as much as there are for populated areas, which means that this area is much less sampled for the data collection for the weather models than these areas right here. And so therefore things become a lot more refined for these weather models the closer we get to the event, because then the weather models can rely more on satellite and actual things that are happening in the current moment instead of just weather balloons and whatnot. Basically, the point is that the closer we are to the actual event, there a lot more can change, especially because this whole entire block and this trough is originating in a place which isn't so sampled. So the closer we get, the more accurate things will become, and things could change even for the better and also for the worse. But I'm more hopeful that it will be for the better because of the fact that it already has been changing for the better. I want to see if there's time to show you these. This is just a close-up picture of the Euro. Notice how this is a cold air anomaly. This is a whole other website that shows some excellent weather maps also. Here you can, this is just one picture of the 96-hour mark from now, where the trough is in the best place for Israel. There's an incredible block overhead right here. Here it's pushing down this tons of cold air, and it's sweeping beautifully right into Israel, going over the Mediterranean, which is right here. And as a result of that, you'll notice that in this picture, which is actually the GFS, you'll see, just this is for the sake of showing how precipitation forms. When we get this sort of motion of air going over the Mediterranean waters, look at all the green. That's called precipitation, which is what would create rain or snow. And look how basically it brings in precipitation. That's always what happens when we get a cold air trough coming down, going over the Mediterranean. It's able to bring up a lot of moisture, usually because it combines with the southern jet stream and brings in a lot of moisture into Israel, as we're seeing right here. Now, this is the GFS. It's not the most ideal. The Euro doesn't provide us with weather maps that can show us precipitation. But anyways, that's the video for today. As we see, we're basically still at a juncture where it's the GFS versus the Euro. Here's our beautiful shot again, the Euro. And we want to see things continue to trend further south. We want to see this whole entire cold air moving even further down. I think there's a realm of possibility for that. However, if we take things at face value today, you can check out my forecast for what I think will occur. Right now, I'm going to give actually a smaller % chance of snow than you would probably expect. I would say that with where things are at right now, we need a lot more cold air in order to have a major snowstorm, but with this we could probably get maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow, which is maybe 3 to 5 centimeters. It may not stick or last too long, but it'll be something. It'll be cool nonetheless, and I think it could get better over time again. Also, there will be a lot of rain with this storm too. Before the cold comes in, there will still be a lot of there'll be a nice storm that will develop that will bring a lot of moisture into Israel, and it'll be quite cold and rainy the days before this potential snow threat comes, which would be so we're talking about the days of possibly starting Wednesday into Thursday, and then hopefully by Friday and Saturday things getting cold enough to turn into snow. I'm not going to give any specifics quite yet. As a really, besides for I gave specifics already, 1 to 3 inches, 3 to 5 centimeters. That's a really wild guess. I would put, again, maybe a 20% chance of that happening at this point. I don't even like to say percentages at this point though either. I say it vary with a grain of salt because things can change and they have changed. And right now, all we can really think to ourselves is it could snow on Friday. The chance is still there. As we get closer to the event, things will become much more clear. I'll provide you all with much more specific information on that. But for now, we could say that, again, snow is a possibility, a small amount for Friday into Saturday. Okay, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much for all the support. You're welcome to ask any questions or leave any comments below in the comment section. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.